I currently spend more time sitting in front of a computer than I do sitting in front of patients, and that is not why I became a doctor. We are currently at Tallahassee Orthopedic Clinic implementing our government-mandated electronic medical record system, which, much like everything else associated with the government, takes twice as long, costs 5 times as much, and does not work, okay? When it works, every single patient looks the same. It generates this note, and everybody looks the same. I couldn't tell you from you from you. When I dictate a note, I say, you know, Mrs. Smith is a wonderful grandmother of 4 who tripped over her dog. In the Obamacare record, it says, patient hurt ankle. That's it. That's all you get. That's how the government views you. They don't view you as an individual with unique needs and wants and desires. They view you as just another worker bee in the collective hive. And that is why this law must go. And for this law to go, we must kick the president out of the White House. And we must kick the government out of the exam room. And we must replace that president with Mitt Romney. Let us not forget that to get a repeal bill in front of the president, who's going to be Mitt Romney, we must take back the Senate and we must maintain the House. So don't forget to support Connie Mack over Bill Nelson, who supports Obamacare and who wants to strip seniors of their Medicare. Don't forget to support my good friend Steve Sutherland, who's voted against Obamacare 11 times. That man is a champion for everything you believe in. And if you can, dig deep into your pockets and send off a check to all the Senate races that need our help in Virginia, in Ohio, in Pennsylvania, in Indiana, in Montana, and anywhere else you can think of. Let's take back the Senate. When I see the latest polls, as Preston pointed out, and when I see Governor Romney taking it to President Obama in the debates, outlining a clear, articulate vision for our future with math that actually makes sense and he was willing to show us, when I see his lovely wife, Ann Romney, who represents everything that you and I aspire to be as family members, when I see all these things, and most of all, when I see all of you with your enthusiasm, your energy, and your passion, for the first time in 4 years, with apologies to Tina Fey, I can see America from my house.
I know a guest that's coming to the morning show sometime soon. Our next guest is currently a national board certified English teacher at Wakulla High School, where she has taught for 12 years. She became the first elected Republican on the Wakulla County School Board, where she will represent District 2 beginning November 20th. Also a member of the Wakulla County Republican Executive Committee. Please welcome Melissa Taylor.
Reminders and relationship advisors. Yet, most of us who teach middle and high school never have more than 50 minutes contact with each class in a given student day. We cannot fill the voids and meet the challenges that distract our students. We must have the support of the family. But how do we teach families to take an active role in their children's education? Again, I turn to Dr. Seuss. We don't remain in the waiting place, waiting for the fish to bite or waiting around for Friday night. Everyone is just waiting. No, that's not for you. Each of you has proved that by being here today. You are not waiters, you are doers. Work with your school's PTA to create programs that encourage raising readers. Plan reading events at local community centers and churches. Sponsor family book swaps. Hold parenting seminars that focus on motivating children to success, teaching and exhibiting ethical and moral values, promoting individual responsibility and hard work. Volunteer at your community school as classroom readers, listeners, and mentors. Learn stories of the past and go into your communities. Find out what those stories are and reenact them in your schools and classrooms. And adopt a parent. Mentor new and young parents who may benefit from your experiences. These are all programs I intend to initiate as a new Wakulla County A District School Board member. But everyone here today can be part of the solution to a strong foundation for the education of our children. So at this time, when Mitt Romney, a man of courage, conviction, strong morals, genuine family values, and a desire for our children and families to thrive, has traveled many places to support our freedoms and lead by example, what kind of example will you be? What places will you go? As Dr. Seuss says, congratulations, today is your day. Your mountain is waiting. You're off to great places, so get on your way. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Well, joining us today is the founder of his own consulting business. He was selected and served as a trustee at Florida A&M University. He has served as the executive director of the Florida Democratic Party. And along with former Tampa Mayor Dick Greco, he is the co-founder of Democrats for Romney. Please welcome Bernie Bishop.
As a lifelong Democrat and a three-time entrepreneur, I'm proud. No, I'm very proud to stand with you today to support Governor Romney as the next president of the United States of America. Because he is the only one that has figured out how to turn this economy around and put Americans back to work. And he's outlined it in a 5-point plan. Now, we all know that the president has mocked it as a 1-point plan, but that's only obvious because he has no plan. His slogan is, we should just go forward. We don't know where, we don't know how, just forward. To do that, though, we have to continue on the failed path that we're on right now, which has the potential to doom America to second-tier financial status along with Greece, Spain, Italy, and other countries that this president seems to have an ideological affinity with. Americans, and especially Floridians, are beginning to understand that we need a president who's been in the private sector and has actually created jobs, because that's what we all know we need in order to get out of this terrible economic mess. Now, the president, he's eloquent in his rhetoric that he wants to create jobs, but all he seems to be able to do is to kill jobs. For example, he killed the XL pipeline, despite the fact that it would put 100,000 Americans to work and bring energy resources to America's heartland. And when the president attempted to create jobs in the renewable sector, it was to give our money to his cronies who took Solandra into bankruptcy, leaving us $500 million poor. Do you know why the president did this? Because it wasn't his money, it was our tax dollars that he just wants to spread around to try to create jobs. And just earlier this week, another alternative energy company went broke. 34 companies, billions of dollars. Mr. President, wake up. You don't know how to create jobs. You're fired! The only job he knows how to keep is his. And Governor Romney knows far too well that government doesn't create jobs. And Mr. President, he's going to see to it that you don't keep yours. We simply can't afford to keep a president that makes bad investments. that loans our money to his campaign contributors, which then go bankrupt and put Americans out of jobs. To make matters worse, the president doesn't even want to apologize to the American people for all these bad decisions. He just wants to raise more tax dollars, give away more money, dig a bigger pit of debt for our children and future generations, so that he can have 4 more years at the financial drop of America. Enough is enough. Americans need jobs, and Governor Romney knows how to do that. He did it in the private sector with the Olympics in Salt Lake City. He did it in the public sector when he was elected in liberal Massachusetts. So it shocks me when the president blames the previous administration for everything that he couldn't even produce positive results when he had a Democratic House and Senate for the first 2 years he was in office. He could have done anything that he wanted. He could have cut the deficit in half like he promised. He could have promoted a comprehensive immigration reform solution like he promised. He could have put more Americans to work like he promised, yet he has failed, and he has failed miserably in matching his deeds to his words. Governor Romney, on the other hand, has worked successfully with the state legislature that was 87% Democrat. Well, wait a second, let me repeat that. 87% Democrat. You got it? 87% Democrat. And he produced results by understanding that compromise is not a dirty word so long as you don't sell your principles out in the process. You see, Governor Romney is dedicated to solving problems just like he does every day as a businessman. There isn't a day that goes by that a business owner, man or woman, doesn't have some new challenge that has to be resolved. And that's why when this president said that business owners don't build their businesses, he was wrong. And I can sympathize with the president for his perverted view because he's never had to work. He's always worked on the public dole his entire adult life. We can't afford 4 more years. Every year that Governor Romney was in office, he produced a balanced budget, which this president has failed to do even once. But he's not worried. The president isn't worried because it isn't his money. It's our money that we created through hard work. Now the president wants us to believe that none of us could build our businesses without government help. Mr. President, that's hogwash. You're out of touch with reality. We did it in spite of government that wants to reach into our businesses and our homes every day to tell us what to do. In New York City, they have a mayor who wants to tell you how much soda you can drink out of a cup. Friends, if we're not careful, we'll continue to regulate everything in our lives. We can't afford 4 more years. We are now in debt up to our necks, and the message from the Democrats is to just stay the course. Are you kidding me? As a fiscally conservative businessman, I can't afford to accept 4 more years of hope and change. It's killing me, and you can't afford it either. The president promised to change Washington. He said it throughout his 4-year campaign. Only Barack Obama could change Washington. Now he finally admits in the debates that now that he is ensconced in the White House, he can't change it. Well, when we have an employee that admits failure, there's only one thing that we do. We fire Obama! He promised not to put any lobbyists in this administration. And then within days, he started making exceptions for his closest friends. I have to tell you that when the president opens his mouth, I no longer believe what he says. He is indeed a very good speaker, but he doesn't do what he says he's going to do. He talks out of both sides of his mouth in order to divide our country. He's not a uniter, he's a divider. Friends, we can't afford 4 more years. But Governor Romney instinctively knows the truth because he has lived it. And no truth is more self-evident self-evident that we can't spend more money than we bring in. And that's why Governor Romney's economic message is resonating with Americans. Look, we don't want to be told that everything is fine when we know it isn't. We don't want to be told to stay the course when that course has brought America to the brink of economic ruin. Americans want a leader like Governor Romney who's willing to talk about fiscal discipline, who's willing to make the tough decisions with Congress, both Democrats and Republicans alike, to implement the tough medicine that our country needs to move us in the right direction. Americans don't want a president that whines after 4 years in office and it's still someone else's fault. You're the president. Please, Mr. President, for once, take the responsibility for your failure. Because it's evident that all of us, that clearly are not up to the job. Why this president couldn't even keep our national credit rating, which I suppose is okay if all you've ever done is work for government throughout your life like the president has. Here's the scary news, folks. Everyone in the president's cabinet comes from government or academia. Not a single private sector person tops the ideological apple cart in this administration. We know the president talks about Lincoln all the time. And we know that President Lincoln put all of his adversaries into his cabinet to ensure diverse opinions and independent thinking. But if you've watched the first two debates, this president can't even stand someone questioning his actions. He is incredulous. His body language and his facial actions are totally dismissive, and he disdains anyone that questions his brilliance. Yet that's exactly why this country's problems aren't being solved, because this president hasn't the experience of reaching across the table to seek accords like Governor Romney did in a much tougher political environment like Massachusetts. This is why Governor Romney is the man that America is looking for to lead our country in a very different direction. One that not only promises energy security by 2020, but by accessing our God-given natural resources, but also by pledging to keep America's military strong. National security and economic and energy security go hand in hand. And Governor Romney understands this if we are to remain strong and to protect our interests around the world. I have to be honest with you. I'm dumbfounded that a Democratic president has tossed Israel aside in order to seek friendship with radical Muslims who want to decimate the Jewish state and the mother of the West. If you had told me that a Democrat would do that to our closest ally in the Middle East, I would have accused you of being in fantasy land. But this president has sold Israel down the river in order to pacify his Muslim friends. And where exactly has I got this, Mr. President? For a president who criticizes Governor Romney for no foreign policy experience, the president has no room to talk. His actions, and in some cases inactions, has cost America in Egypt, in Libya, in Syria. Mr. President, I can go on and on. My friends, we don't need 4 more years of this. We need Governor Romney right now, more than ever before, because with the growing threat from a nuclear Iran, we need Israel to be strong and a vigilant ally in the most dangerous and explosive part of the world. But this president just can't seem to understand that Israel is our friend and that America supports its friends in bad times as well as good. Governor Romney, on the other hand, has pledged his unwavering support to Israel, and furthermore, he will not let sequestration riddle our military into becoming a mediocre fighting force. The president wants to cut the budget of the military against the wishes of his own Pentagon, so that he and his ilk can further their economic entitlement philosophy. We all know the statistics from Governor Romney's remarks at the recent debate. 15 million more Americans receiving food stamps than 4 years ago. Millions more Americans in poverty than 4 years ago. And yet the president's message is to give him 4 more years. Friends, we can't afford 4 more years. He'd like everyone in America to believe that conservatives are heartless and that we don't care. I know that I speak for all of us, Mr. President, and I hope you're listening, that we do care, and that we do believe in giving a hand up, but not a handout. If someone is willing to help themselves, Americans have always been willing to help others. But Mr. President, we can't help others if we're not strong ourselves. Here's the good news, Mr. President. We're going to give you a chance to learn this very important life lesson as soon as we get you off the government payroll. Economic security as well is critical to America's future. And that's part of the reason why President Bill Clinton killed welfare as we know it. And yet this president has promised more of it to his adoring millions who seem more than happy to raise our taxes to support everyone else. I ask you, isn't that what's killing the golden goose in Europe? A society that is government-centric? A society, a government that solves its fiscal problems by promising everyone that government will always take care of themselves all the time. Unfortunately, the president wants to give away our wealth, our hard-earned money, our strong work ethic, our creativity, all for the altar of government being the answer. So you see, it's easy to understand for me why this president ridicules Romney for his wealth. Because he didn't earn it by the government like the president did. Governor Romney earned it the old-fashioned way. He worked for it. Mr. President, profit is not a dirty word. It's what creates jobs, and it makes our private enterprise system the envy of the entire free world. If anyone has proved that veiled theory wrong, the theory that utopia is the promised land, it's Governor Romney who created private wealth by investing in businesses that he believed had a chance to grow and create jobs and thus private wealth. That's the private sector's role, not the government's role, Mr. President. This administration is absolutely determined to pick winners and losers based on the simple adherence to the doom-trickle government philosophy that he believes in. And then to add insult to injury, he voiced the EPA on all of us to tell us that we must pay more for gas, that we must pay more for water, that we must pay more for food to build the perfect Shangri-La on this earth, because otherwise it's going to go into a slow boil. And if we question their preconceived notion because the science doesn't support their conspiracy of earth warming, then naturally, just naturally, we're wrong. They are infallible. But President Reagan said it best. Quote, it's not that liberals are ignorant, it's just that what they know is wrong. This rally is more about women, and since many more are now breadwinners, it's appropriate that Governor Romney has focused his campaign on the presidency on what the average American is desperately seeking. Women like men want a job. They want fiscal discipline, and they want the truth, no matter how hard that pill is to swallow. Women are smart, they're savvy, and they know that America needs new blood, new ideas, a new commitment to a better future for them and their children, their family. And women like men now know from the first two debates that this president doesn't have a plan. Wait, I'm wrong. He has a plan. It's to criticize Governor Romney's plan. Remember their slogan, forward. We don't know where we're going. We don't know how we're going to get there, but we're going to go forward. In just 16 days, I believe that America will tear this president that he aspired. And so, Mr. President, I suggest you start packing your bags now. 20th century icon Winston Churchill was once quoted saying about America that Americans always do the right thing, but only after considering every other option. My friends, we've considered every other option, and the only right thing to do is by our president. We need a man with a proven ability to create jobs. A man who knows how to bring disparate philosophies together to craft a solution. A man who will get a handle on our debt. A man who is solidly committed to maintaining a strong and vibrant military. A man who wants to preserve and strengthen the American family. A man who understands that our natural resources provide us with energy security. A man who will not just call meetings in the White House for the sake of having a meeting and the TV cameras, but will produce results that will lead our country in a different direction. Football coach Bear Bryant, a favorite of mine, had a sign in the locker room at the University of Alabama. And friends, it only had 3 words on it. 3 words. Make something happen. Governor Mitt Romney is the man who will finally make something happen. And with your help, with your support, and your faith in what is right and decent in America, we will elect Governor Mitt Romney as the next president of the United States.
Talked about the president whining for 4 years about what he inherited. Can you imagine what he's going to say if he gets reelected about the mess he inherits next? We're going to take just a brief break from the speakers and introduce you back to Todd Doss and Gianna Lopez as we sing God Bless America. You guys know the words, we sing along with us.
To the